that's good. Without my screen working, I'm doomed.
Okay, we good? Is everyone rolling?
Yeah. Rolling off 5 minutes. So I'll get outtakes.
Is that recording, do you?
Yeah.
Yep. So Jim, thank you so much for hosting the Insomnia Paranormal Society here at Groundlings Theatre.
Not worry.
Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Jim. I'm the theatre manager here. I've been working here for about a year now, and happy to have you guys here. And I'm normally the guy who volunteers to help you guys out with all paranormal investigations and hopefully find some good stuff.
So Jim, can you give us a brief history of Groundlings Theatre?
Brief. This building was built in the mid-1700s by a load of, by 6 business owners dotted all around Portsmouth. One had a barber's, a pub, and all sorts of different businesses. And they basically had this kind of emergency stack of money that it was a huge amount. It was basically money put aside every month or every few weeks just in case anything bad happened to their consortium of businesses. And they ended up with this vast amount of cash, and they thought, right, well, we've got it, let's do something good with it. And they had 2 passions in their life. They had, number one, they wanted all children to be educated, regardless of financial capability or anything. They had a real passion for all boys, unfortunately, sorry ladies, all boys should be educated to have a much better start in life. And their second passion was theatre. And this is during a time where theatres were only allowed to be open 90 days a year. So they came up with a bit of an interesting scheme where they thought, right, we'll build this wonderful building. The building started in the 1750s and was completed in the 1780s. And the plan was downstairs would be the schoolhouse to house around 250 boys, 1 teacher. So obviously when you look at figures of nowadays, teachers can't possibly deal with more than 8 kids, so quite a big deal. And upstairs, they won't call it a theatre, they'll call it a hall. And if ever, busybodies came around and said, oh, you're a theatre, you can't be open, they say, oh, no, we're merely just teachers and trustees watching a bit of Hamlet. It's not a theatre. No, it just so happens that Hamlet is on. And that's how they got around it. So this was the only theatre that was running throughout the year. So that was how this building came to be. And that continued right up until, all the way up until the late 70s, where it was actually a plastering and decorating school. We actually had an audience member come on, a painting and decorating course here. So right up until like that time, and then unfortunately it got closed down because the council pulled funding and was left abandoned for 2 decades. And then 3 years ago we moved in, rebuilt it basically, because during those 2 decades it was given a bit of a battering, and we turned it into the theatre it is now.
So Jim, in the last 3 years, what paranormal events have you been made aware of happened in the theatre?
Loads. Some of them I've seen, some of them I haven't seen. My employer says that phantom water is quite a popular one. Somebody feeling that entire glass or bucket of water has been thrown at them, and they're bone dry. It's like, did you? No. Water pistols. Genuinely, we're looking for super soakers every once in a while, so just make sure that nobody's messing with us, and that's a major thing. Items being moved, which everyone swears down with quite a small staff. So if somebody did move something, we would know about it. Electrics is a major problem with this theatre, and previous psychics from other groups have said, well, you'll always have that problem due to the electrical energies and things. Our budget for lighting equipment and replacing bulbs and stuff is the same as the King's Theatre, despite the fact they have a vast large amount more. Paintings falling off the wall, not just falling as in ending up in the middle of rooms sort of thing, not just as in literally falling over. Items moving during ghost hunts, the whole drawing a pencil line around certain items and they would be moved. The stage creaking where nobody's actually on the stage. I've acted on the stage myself and I know where the sweet spots are, and they can only really creak that way if somebody's stepping on it. And ghost hunts and other things have happened where we've been nowhere near the stage, and so, oh, right. Hot spots. I understand that a lot of ghost hunts use thermometers and checking drastic drops in temperature and raising up again in literally areas as big as a small table, moving it in and it's going up and down insanely. I myself got pushed over during a ghost hunt, which was quite interesting. Noises, sounds. During another ghost hunt, there was recording equipment left in the wardrobe, and there was a very audible, it was quite murmuring and nothing really major, but there was very audible shh I'm assuming the finger went up as well. And that was predicted that from the ghost hunt, that was one of the ghosts in the wardrobe department who didn't like a noisy classroom. So there's a vast amount of interesting things that have happened in this building, during ghost hunts and during non-ghost hunts as well, when we're just tottering around on our own doing stuff.
So Jim, can you give us a few examples of things that have personally happened to you in the last 3 years?
Well, like I said, we were in a circle doing the whole, if there's a spirit here, can you make yourself known? And I'm not going to lie to you, very little happened during this ghost hunt. And then literally, I just ended up on the deck. Just literally ended up on the deck. It was a very weird experience. And obviously it's like, whoa, did you fit? And I was like, yeah, totally did. So that was quite bizarre. In the green room, we have a lot of suspended umbrellas, because on this site the man who invented the umbrella was born, so we celebrate the fact, the umbrella is quite a big deal. And they're suspended by fishing wire. And during one of the seances, when they were doing all the experiments, they say, can you make something move? And one of the umbrellas started rotating when they made that request. And they were obviously taking pictures and everything, and then they asked if it's the spirit moving that umbrella, making sure it's not a draft or anything, could you stop? And the umbrella stopped. And then obviously blown away by this, they wanted to push their luck that little bit further, so can you make it go the other way? And it went the other way. And they were taking like UV camera shots and everything like that. Apparently there was a glow around the umbrella, so that was quite an interesting one. Noises are a massive thing. Obviously with an old building there's lots of interesting, weird and wonderful sounds, but sounds that can't really explain, like the creaking stage. Many a times I've been working upstairs late and the stage would creak when there's literally only me in the building, sort of thing. So lots of little things happen quite regularly, and other staff members will have their own little interesting stories and stuff.
And Jim, we're about an hour away from starting the insomnia investigation.
Awesome.
What sort of top tips can you give us to make the most of the evening?
Go everywhere, just go absolutely everywhere. In each and every room something weird or wonderful has happened with at least one ghost hunt. Most recently, I did forget about this in the dressing rooms upstairs in the theatre. Unfortunately I wasn't part of this group, but they came down very excited at the end of it. It's completely pitch black and you can do a lot of interesting things there because there's no light in there whatsoever. And apparently they were inside and they were doing the usual request, if there's a spirit here, can you make yourself known? And a massive kind of like, not a bang or a clatter, but something literally hit the deck in the middle of where they were. It was a shoe. Just literally ended up in the middle of the room, which nobody could explain. So what they did is they picked up the shoe, threw it in the other room, turned the lights out, like, could you make another sign? And another big crash, bang and wallop, and there were 2 shoes in there. Unfortunately, I wasn't there for it, but they were very excited. They took loads of pictures of the shoe and stuff like that. So even the wardrobe department is an interesting place, one of the newer parts of the building, but stuff still happened. Wardrobe, don't just try one end, try all around the wardrobe. The theatre, it's a huge room, you wander around safely, but check it out, because there's so much history in this building, in every single bit of wood and concrete and brick. There's so much history, just check everywhere.
Well, thank you very much,
No,
Jim,
no, pleasure.
for hosting Insomnia, and we're about an hour away for investigation, so wish us luck.
I will do, absolutely. I'll hopefully be around, watching and taking part.
Brilliant.
Wicked.
Cut. Are you guys recording?
Yeah.
So Jim, I'm so sorry we've had to temporarily stop the interview. We've actually
fine.
heard some banging, some dragging noise and some shouting as well.
Yep.
So we're just going to investigate this and we'll come